All right. Greg, Josh, how's it going?
Good.
It's going better after that intro music.
Yeah, we're upping the production quality here. Well, glad to have you guys both with us, and glad to have everybody joining in from the audience. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I know that we're all here in Memphis, so it's great to see. We're getting some sunny weather finally. I know you. I'm glad that it's not the dreary weather that we've had the last couple of days. So I hope you guys are relieved as well. Getting into it though, we're just going to show off Drafts 2.0. I mean, it's a really exciting time for Visalaw. Josh, I know you've been really pumped for this project. What are some of the exciting things that we've got coming down the line with Drafts 2.0? What are we going to see today?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you'll be able to see it in a demo state, a live demo. So that's always fun and nerve wracking, of course. But I would say from a product standpoint, we've essentially rebuilt the entire platform. Like Visalaw.ai is not the Visalaw.ai of January 2024 or even November 2024. We basically decided 2024 for us was a product validation year. So the market would determine if the product was meaningful, right? Like if we found or validated a use case or multiple use cases, which we believe strongly that we did, that we would roll into 2025 with the expectation to create a product that would ultimately be able to scale with the needs of the business. So AI is definitely a big part of that, like the new functionality that we'll be demoing today. But it was really just more about building a foundation, right, that we can kind of continue to layer on as we go forward.
Yeah, continued improvement. Things, in AI, they change every single day. We don't really know what 6 months will look like, or what it'll look like in a year for sure. Exponential growth is really a remarkable thing, and that's, I think, what we've seen with this technology over the last few years. We got some people coming in from South Africa. That's amazing. Decatur, Georgia. That's awesome. Yeah, and so this is a bit of a Halloween special for us, I guess. I'm surprised, Greg, you didn't show up in a costume. I thought
not a costume guy.
Since it is a Halloween special, I do want to know, Greg, what for you as an immigration lawyer is sort of the scariest thing for you in your practice? What scares you as an immigration lawyer?
Oh man, that's a loaded question to ask an immigration lawyer these days, because it's like a new scare every day as far as like what's going to show up in your inbox and what's a crazy thing are you going to. Oftentimes it'll be turning on the news and just seeing how your day is going to be blown up by that. But so obviously it's scary just to deal with current political environment. But I mean, I think it's also just scary for a lot of immigration lawyers, because this practice area is so unforgiving as far as small errors and being able to fix problems on there. It's unforgiving as far as missing deadlines. It's unforgiving as far as making minor mistakes, and that's not a new problem. That's my whole career that's been a problem. But for immigration lawyers, it's just there's a lot of stress with knowing that so much your clients are depending on you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a life-changing thing. As anybody who's going through the immigration process, your life is changing one way or the other. So it's really important work, and it's really important that you can do it efficiently and do it accurately. And I think that's sort of why we're here today. And yeah, one of the scariest things that I think we see on our side is just, people misusing AI, not really knowing how to, where to differentiate between a safe AI and using domain-specific AIs like Visalaw.ai. So it's important that we get this right. So I think we've got a tool today that we're showing that's going to make things a little bit less scary for immigration lawyers. So Josh, I'm going to go ahead and toss it to you, and let's see what Drafts 2.0 is all about.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely want to kind of follow up on both the things that Greg said and that you mentioned there at the end. I mean, frankly, I think in 2025, it's, I can't speak specifically to how immigration lawyers feel, but building a product for immigration lawyers, you basically are weighing the constant change in immigration and the constant change in tech. So let's just say our roadmap is ever changing in terms of features or like how we're planning to build. So, we're basically getting feedback on what does this change mean for how these kinds of cases work, or how does the last 2 months of innovation and generative AI affect what we're going to be building. And there, I do believe we're really relatively close to some kind of, I wouldn't say convergence, but basically our tool just being able to evolve in a way and at a speed that's going to be much faster. Again, just kind of going back to what we've been building over the last 12 months. But kind of to your point also, Ian, you mentioned the ways that, we try to, or at least explain the differentiation between how Visalaw.ai works in comparison to a general AI product, or I guess you could say a foundational model, right? Like an Anthropic, a ChatGPT, a Perplexity. And I just always focus in on use case, right? Or aspects of a use case. I use all of those products for various purposes. And I think they do really, really good things on certain tasks. What we are able to leverage as a company is foundationally two things, I would say. One is definitely a trust element, right? Like we are always going to be focused on how do we secure and make private the data that is being utilized in our product. And then also I would say just in terms of like the coverage of law, right? Like you're not going to find any other products that essentially have a real-time immigration library that at least the AI, you could call it an engine or assistant. I mean, the vernacular you use, I think, is pretty irrelevant, but the use case is there because we have the data that will inform the system. And hopefully what we can do as a company is build the technical components that make that meaningful for users. And one of the most meaningful use cases that we've identified to date is that of drafting petition letters and briefs. So we started this journey, and I'll go ahead and share my screen a little bit so that we can kind of talk through this briefly. We started our journey in what we called 1.0. Folks have, and I might just let me know if this comes through. Sure. Really quick. Share screen. There we go. So I'm going to do slide. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. So what I would say is in 1.0, what we were really all about was just getting you to that document, right? Like using AI to generate essentially like a Word file you could download. And in 2.0, we've really evolved in a lot of ways. But I did want to first step back again to what I was talking about. Like really Visalaw.ai is not the product, and will definitely, I would say, not be the product it has been from a technical standpoint. We are essentially reintroducing Visalaw.ai into, moving into 2026. If you were to ask me 5 months ago, what is Visalaw.ai? I would say, of course, it's an AI platform for immigration lawyers with a particular focus on research and drafting capabilities. We are trying to explain what we are doing to our industry, and the best way that we see fit to do that is to call ourselves an immigration intelligence platform. So when you start talking about what is Visalaw.ai, and just to give people a sneak peek, because I think I tend to get into product because that's what I love and what I spend all my day pretty much doing, or have more recently. We are an immigration intelligence platform. We are trying to identify what is it that we're really giving you, and it is this AI engine that's connected to what we believe to be the most comprehensive and robust data set on U.S. immigration law that exists. And hopefully we can continue to leverage it in very unique ways. Again, going back to Greg's point about what's scary, solving the seemingly impossible equation for an immigration lawyer, constant changes, which challenges it creates challenges from a business perspective on margins and client stress. And, what we believe, when you go to any of these AILA conferences or you talk to any lawyers, it's like, we're talking about like mental health and, how to make this industry sustainable, or like our occupation sustainable long-term. We are just trying to elevate the profession, whatever that means. That is our goal. Now I'll let the, our users and those who, get to interact with our product be the ultimate deciders of that. But like, ultimately that is our vision, for Visalaw in totality. But I would say specifically in the way that we've built Visalaw 2.0, which, all of the folks on this call, if this is relevant for you or not, in terms of your practice, in terms of the work you do, I just wanted to like emphasize, like, this is our direction as a company. And we're going, and these are just little hints that I'm giving, little like nuggets, but we're going to have like really more comprehensive directional webinars and talks as we dip into 2026. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I did want to kind of paint that picture a little bit before I jump into the demo. And Visalaw 2.0, especially as it relates to drafts, is going to be, we believe, the most advanced and intuitive technology available in the immigration legal market. In terms of like the total investment and the total resources that have been dedicated and are continued to be dedicated to this, I can't see there being anything really comparable, at least direct to lawyers, right? If I put an asterisk next to that, B to L, as I like to say. So we're going to release this product in phases. Drafts is going to be released in about a little over a week to all of our customers. It's available now to what we call like beta access users. And it's a separate environment. It's not going to be available for any of you who are Visalaw.ai subscribers today. It's not available in the product you're using right now. On the week of November 10th, you will have a new tab in your nav menu, which will allow you to get into Drafts 2.0. And then for our core product, it's going to be early next year. And we're going to release, again, it will be a completely new interface. Don't worry, it's, there, from a navigation standpoint, you're still going to be able to find everything that you're using today. Hopefully just way more intuitive and easier to handle. Highlight in terms of like, what is Drafts 2.0 conceptually before I dive into the demo. What we're trying to do is leverage this data set. I keep talking about this immigration data set that we internally kind of curate and manage. So that lends itself into case strategy. So basically a fusion of this research tooling that we've had for so long and this drafting capability, right? Like that data should be able to really intelligently inform a lawyer or an admin or a paralegal, like, hey, here are the documents that you uploaded. We actually think that these are some gaps that you're missing to strengthen, the argument in your brief, or to support the categories selected as part of your petition letter. Or like, hey, the law just changed yesterday or last week. Here are just some pointers around, different requirements. Again, just thinking about how we can leverage the tooling that we currently have in a really meaningful way. And one of the pieces of feedback we've gotten is that customization absolutely is key. It is like the most essential component in drafts as it relates to every law firm, every lawyer, every team needing to be able to create unique templates and unique structures and the ways that those things are compiled together and ordered. And so, 1.0 is a very much more rigid setup where, maybe there was some flexibility, but maybe not total flexibility. Our goal with Drafts 2.0 is to basically kind of break down the limits, right? The limitations that have existed up until now. Make it simple. I mean, I think in some of the ways that we've built it, we hope it can be very simple, and then ultimately a lot more reviewing and collaboration, which seems like a really simple, small thing, but ultimately it's actually not. So that's what I wanted to just really quickly flag. And so I'll stop sharing that and I'll switch over now to the platform itself. And so, Ian, Greg, I don't know if there's anything, obviously just stop me as I dive in, and just and I might, ask for some insights in just a second as we get into specific features.
For sure. And I'll just let everybody know that's watching, like, feel free to put your questions in the chat. We've got our team of experts behind the scenes answering some of those questions for you as well, if they can be answered that way. And we'll throw some on the screen if just throughout the conversation. But we'll also have a dedicated Q&A section after that we can clarify any of those questions as well. But yeah, I would say just keep it rolling.
Awesome. So I first want to call out all of our great customer success and product folks who are on they're kind of working behind the scenes right now. So I'm sure they're able to respond. We've got Emily, Joseph, and Scarlett from our team. They're doing a great job, and I just want to call out them, thank them for being on the call as well. So what you're seeing is a somewhat limited view. This is, again, our Drafts 2.0 platform. So you're not going to see a lot of other tabs in the left or other tools. We just are focused on Drafts in this initial kind of phased release. Again, for those of you on the call who have a Visalaw.ai subscription, when you log in on the week of the 10th, you will your Drafts tab will now have this new capability. So we're going to kind of for a period of time support both the legacy version of Drafts, which you currently have access to. So you'll be able to see all of your previous projects and all those things while we're like migrating all of that data. So there might be like a draft. I believe there will be a Drafts tab, and then there will be like a Drafts legacy tab whenever we actually release this to all of our users. Legacy will just be anything that you've been working on up until, again, we'll make a note, we'll make a press, or we'll send it out, to all of our customers, just letting them know, just, hey, by the way, don't get confused. There are two draft tabs temporarily while we're migrating some of that data, but just the Drafts tab will have your new functionality available there. So just, again, and we'll have better instructions and details on that for all of our users before we release. Initially, it may not feel all that different, right? I'm just in my Drafts window. I'm going to create a new project, and I'll just give this one a name. I believe this kind of historical EB1 example I'm going to do is Mario Supremo, and I'm just going to do this like EB1, or if you had a case number, like maybe I'll just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0, 1 or something like that. Yeah, I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm just provide a EB1A petition letter. Obviously, we are releasing new process types. I will mention that we've recently onboarded several team members who are going to help us in the humanitarian areas. Yeah, I mean, just talking about people who have a ton of experience in that field. Someone who's worked in USCIS is like part of as an asylum officer for 10 plus years. Someone who's just folks who have a multitude of experience in the field and can help us really get to the granular levels of some of these humanitarian case types. But you'll continue to see more released in the coming months. So I just want to make a quick mention of that. And likely, hopefully, some of these will eventually come out of beta because we'll have basically a better gauge of confidence in just how successful they'll be for.
And to be clear, Josh, the beta doesn't mean that people can't use that process type. In fact, we kind of encourage people to try it out and give us feedback on how the outputs are, the quality that we get, right?
That's exactly right. So it just means that there's no cost associated with them. So you can create as many of those as you want with no charge or no count towards your like credit usage allotment. Is sort of how the system works with the credits. But yeah, so beta just means free. That's essentially what it means. And I was just kind of getting into like alluding to like why it's free, because like our team is just, we're not going to charge for something we don't feel is sort of like law firm like level quality. So that's why we're expanding that team. And I'm just going to go into my computer now and upload a bunch of supporting documents. So the first step, obviously, for those of you who've never seen Drafts before, I'll give you a really quick summary of kind of the overview of this process. We just did step 1, which is just like determining what kind of draft or petition we're working on. Step 2 is uploading all these files, which I'm going to talk about how we're actually going to completely revolutionize some of that in just a minute. The exhibit list or the document sort of reordering, tagging, and then ultimately drafting the letter, reviewing the letter, and then finally assembling the entire petition together. So in the time, a few minutes, or I guess maybe less than a minute, I don't know, that I talked, I've uploaded all the supporting documents, and I'm just going to click next. Obviously, well, that was actually really fast. In the past, I don't think if you've used Drafts 1.0, you'll have noticed, some of these processes can take a while. We do believe that we've addressed, several of those speed issues in the new platform, and hundreds of documents that you should be able to upload in just a matter of 1 to 5 minutes. Again, a lot of that depends on how big the files are, the formatting. So I would just say, some of the really interesting kind of AI capabilities we've added are around analyzing the docs. So you can, maybe you upload files and they have a bunch of random names associated with them. So you can utilize AI to help you rename those files if you want to. I kind of already like the way that these are named, so I think I'm going to leave these names here. You can click organize using AI. So what this does is we have some preset tooling that will essentially help you structure and align all the documents with, the relevant sort of evidentiary category that they would be, associated with. You could also, obviously manually adjust, manually reorder, just like you've been able to in 1.0. And maybe I'm kind of jumping ahead to some of the AI tooling, but you can also just do simple things like, while this is, again, processing or reorganizing the documents, we can, again, like you see, it kind of auto grouped a lot of these together based on the evidentiary category or what specific section of the letter is relevant for. But you could also manually do some of that work, right? So if you wanted to create a group, right? So before I used AI to kind of make these groups for me, I could have selected these 3 files and said, hey, create a group. Now this would obviously remove it from what the AI has done. But again, just, being able to group so it's a single exhibit. You can choose to include or not include certain files. I mean, we could get into all this functionality, for a long time, talking about how, granular you can get into kind of ordering your files. And there's a lot in our roadmap that I won't spend a ton of time talking about today, but this is just going to make it even more customizable in terms of how the documents are going to be ordered in the brief. The last thing I'll mention here, we call them section tags, but basically if you'll notice in any of these documents, it just says like all, right? Like it'll say all next to these as a tag next to these files. And basically all this means is that it's going to associate this file with every section of the letter that's being written by the AI. And so what I could do is actually just select all and then have the AI decide or help me kind of filter, where does this document need to be utilized in the brief, right? Like, does this resume need to be considered for every section of the letter of the brief, or does it just only need to be considered for certain sections? So what's happening in the background right now is this system is working to sort of, intelligently determine where these documents should live, or basically which section, where the AI should use them. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose anybody here because I know we're kind of getting into some of the weeds of some of this capability, but maybe visually this makes sense, right? So information about this specific, I believe this is a specific journal. So this would be like a comparable to maybe like a scholarly article or a work. So, it's going to associate with these 3 sections of the letter, right? Whereas maybe, let's go back up here to the top. This resume is being associated with several sections of the letter. And of course you can modify, you can modify any of this. Like you wanted it to be part of the membership and associations or the high salary section. So there's just a lot of customization now that wasn't available before. In 1.0, this was all just happening behind the scenes. They were just being like, basically every file is being associated with every section, and that's how it works. But we just think there's just a better quality that can exist when the AI is actually or we have matched each document to whatever section is relevant for that doc. So I just wanted to kind of call that out. And then kind of separately, this is a new kind of tooling that we have now, is around the reference letters. And I know I'm doing this a little late because you would likely want to do this before kind of putting your exhibit list together. We have built out a kind of like a part of this process for a petition that generates all the recommendation letters or expert opinion letters for that case. And we have a tool that, so if you uploaded all of your docs at one time in that one upload box that I shared just a few moments ago, we have an AI tool that will essentially filter out any documents that are relevant for these opinion letters or these recommendation letters. And it will highlight automatically the person's name. So it will show the recommenders and the beneficiary. And again, this all depends on how your firm does it. Like if you just have like a separate grouping of documents over here to the side that you wanted to manually upload as part of this, support letter or recommendation letter. Obviously, there are different naming conventions for these letters, but like you can upload them manually, or like we just did, we utilized AI to just take it out of all that big, dump of files that we had. We dumped all those files in that big file drop, and it pulls out the relevant information. So these are what the AI has called out as, these are the recommenders that it's found, and this is the beneficiary. There's a lot that goes into this. I won't linger on it too much, but you can change the length of the letters. You can also see which documents were actually selected as part of this kind of drafting exercise. So if it, just to say, like, we've actually already created the recommendation letters for the supporting documents, but I just want to show you how this functionality works. So you could just click next, and it would actually go about drafting each of these letters in bulk. You as the lawyer or attorney, paralegal or admin would then decide, you could review these and then decide if you want them to be pulled back into your actual exhibit list.
Josh, you're throwing a curveball at me. This is the first time I'm seeing this. This seems really cool to me. Greg, as our immigration professional here, like all of this work that we've done up until this point, like how much time would you say this would have saved you versus how you would have done it, 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about sort of doing white paper to sort of analyze the amount of time saved, but I would say that this is sort of a 10-to-1 reduction as far as how quickly you do things. Even if you're going to making changes, and you should edit, look at all of these and sort of treat them as a first draft. Just getting to that first draft, it can be really time consuming. So I think immigration lawyers out there can appreciate probably that, having this done this quickly is it frees up a ton of time.
Yeah. And I can click in and show you just a simple preview of this letter really quick, so you can see what the AI is basically putting together here. And by the way, just as a call out, these are now editable, fully editable. We have a built-in Word editor, so you don't have to download it, make changes before you pull it into your exhibit. This is one of the capabilities we modified. So this is, I think, a 3-page support letter. And again, there's just going to be so many advanced capabilities you're going to be able to do here. And so, when you make changes, you can automatically save them, or you can manually save them. I mean, you can still download it if you want to. Just completely up to you. And then once you've reviewed the letters, so I won't sit here and wait for all these to complete, but you just click this like sort of add to exhibit list button, and it'll send it right back to your exhibit list for the final petition letter. So anyway, I'm just going to click, and what you can do is you can just click continue later if you just want that just working in the background. So I'm going to get back to the actual petition letter now. So assuming we'd already done all that work, that sidebar. So sorry, that was kind of an aside. That was a lot. Obviously, any existing users, when you want to do a deep dive, we can go further into how to make all this work together. I don't want to get too down into the weeds, but I'm just going to click next because we've already uploaded all the files. Let's say we've already kind of tagged everything the way we want. And then there's going to be a few final, what we call attorney in the loop or paralegal in the loop, where you can basically select the relevant fields, or sorry, the evidentiary categories in the EB1 example. So we'll give that a second.
And while that's answering, we've got a question here, I think, on those reference letters.
Mm-hmm.
Will we be able to use the AI redraft function on the support letters from Rebecca?
That's a good question. You know what? We should. We had not even thought about that, but it's a really good feature. I don't think there's any technical reason why we couldn't. We've already built out the functionality. So yeah, we should definitely add the redrafting there. Thanks for the really.
Yeah. Thanks, Rebecca. You're helping with the product right now.
Yeah. And so I'll show you exactly what Rebecca's alluding to in just a second. So I'm going to select a few of these evidentiary categories just to get through to the actual output. So what happens here is we always like having the lawyer or legal team member select, basically finalizing, confirming these specific pieces of data before the AI gets to work. So we have pulled. So basically what the system has done is pulled all this information out. So it's really just the job of your team to confirm the fields. And then what I'll say is, okay, the signatories role, I'll just say attorney. And then I'll just say Jane. I'm just basically putting in who the lawyer is. And all these other fields seem correct. This is for Mario Supremo. What's the specific field? And then the last section will be around how do you want the exhibits or tabs to look? Or do you want, there may be an instance where you want to customize this or don't want any citations. I'm not going to spend a ton of time today going through how our templates work, because that would be we just really don't have enough time, I think, to get into the weeds of it. But I'll talk about templates for a few minutes at the end. Essentially, every firm has the ability to create their own custom examples or custom templates that the AI can learn from, or at least have as context when it's drafting the briefs. So for this one, our team has built out defaults. So you don't have to add example petition letters for the system to work. It's just going to be defaults that our internal legal team has built out. So, if you're looking at this and you're like, well, we have double space here, we have this section here, not here, or we have another section called this. It's like, well, that's just going to get worked out in the template building. And for any of our enterprise customers or folks that, subscribe to our pro plan, we offer that, really high touch. We can help you get those imported, get them created the way you want. So if you kind of look up here at the top of the screen before I go into the completed draft, it's up here at the top where you see templates. So I can, create a new template and go in here and modify. It'll be that kind of similar word editor view where you can actually, modify your kind of sections of your template. And essentially how this works is you upload an example petition letter, and the AI pulls out all that relevant text and information. And we've already roadmapped a fair amount of additional improvements to how templates work. So maybe you're thinking like, well, I actually wanted to consider 3 examples or 5 examples, or, you start thinking about RFEs and you're like, well, I'd actually just like it to have a whole bank of examples. We're already thinking about those things. And hopefully that will be, again, on our near-term roadmap. Look forward to kind of sharing some more of that soon. So it is launched. So it might take a few minutes, right, to process this entire brief. I did the same one. It may complete while we're talking, and I'm actually quite sure it will. Just so we don't have to sit here and wait for the thing to complete in the next few minutes. I just wanted to show you an example of what this looks like when the system kind of generates this output. So one of the things you'll notice immediately is we have kind of shifted our capability and tooling around this sort of review workflow. And Rebecca had mentioned something earlier about AI redrafting. And so once you get into the editor, you actually can, select a sentence or a segment or an entire section of the letter and have AI redraft that section for a variety. If you just wanted, I'm thinking specifically about the EB1. So say it quoted, let's kind of get down here. It probably quoted something from one of the recommendation letters or support letters. And if it did, maybe maybe the quote's not what you wanted. So, this is from a different document in the exhibit list, but I could say like, yeah, improve clarity and conciseness or something, right? And so what the AI will do is just, it will try it again. And so we can, apply those changes, modify it before it gets actually inserted into the file. We're working on a feature right now, or thinking through the capability around like sort of like flagging these and like track changes, where even though the AI is doing certain work, it will still be first initially created as like sort of like a trackable change. So, whoever's doing the final review can see even the things that you're kind of like having the AI redraft. So like we're really kind of start shifting more to like track changes in the document as different team members are making edits and things like that. Completely possible here. We just haven't made that tooling available by default. So yeah, again, go back to Rebecca's point, this kind of AI redraft tooling, it's kind of like our first go at it. We have some other ideas in mind about how we can implement it. One of them, that she just mentioned, was adding it also in the support letters. So you can quickly just redraft a whole part of the letter, et cetera, when you're kind of going through that. So yeah, hopefully this makes a ton of sense. Obviously, we could spend a ton of time looking at how the AI did in terms of a first pass. But of course, this is really all based on the context we gave it, the supporting documents, the template, and of course the policy manual, relevant legal documents that are kind of incorporated in the background. So yeah, all of that's at play. All of that's working together to give us this some 32 page. It's 30 pages with the exhibit, I would say probably, or this index. Yeah. So it's basically a 30 page, 29 pages with the index here. And so again, this is drafts. This is our drafting capability in sort of like a really quick overview. We're not going to, so like you can send it for review. The team member would get notified via email. They could go into their drafts account and they would see in their kind of like to review section. Obviously for for folks who are actually using the product, we would walk you through how all that works. Just a really quick collaboration tool. You can also bundle everything together as a downloadable PDF. The one thing I would that they're trying to say, I think the one thing that kind of says here is, basically just note that like when you download as a PDF, it is kind of stored in that state. So, in other words, if you go back and make edits to the Word file again, you're going to have to download you would download the assembled or the entire bundle again, because of course you will be making changes. So all the bundling does is essentially compile everything together, everything that you've provided in like one single kind of document. And I just want to highlight the for review section. This is where they would appear if you like sent them. Of course, if you were an attorney, another team member created the draft and they sent it to you for review, it would show up here. You would get an email notification to go back in and do that. So yeah, I think that's a generally fairly high overview of how drafts works. I would like to say like one of the things, like, so I did want to call out that I did see, and this is where the live demo comes into play. This is an older project, so maybe there's something that's not letting me. Yeah, so we'll figure out like what's happening with the downloading of the assembly or the assembled packet. But this is all capability that, again, part of our early beta access we're resolving and look forward to releasing it to all of our users on the 10th. I'm happy to dive into, I think that really closes it up, Ian, on the demo.
Yeah.
If there's anything Emily or Greg or anybody on the team that thinks I like missed something that's like really worth noting, definitely happy to highlight it here. But yeah.
Yeah, we're adding processes really on a pretty steady clip right now. Certainly a lot at a faster pace than we were months ago. But I think user feedback is really helpful as far as like where people feel like we need to, which types of projects we need to be including in the near term on there. So what's I don't know, Josh, how many we have now? About 15.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's there's certainly a lot that we'll have at some point many dozens once we have it takes a fair amount of work to get each one of these ready. on there. And we also want to, we want to focus our energy on putting what people want. So that's why the feedback is going to be helpful.
Yeah. Two things that I want to mention really quick, not from a specific product demo perspective, and then we can get into any remaining questions. One is we are in Visalaw 2.0. We're not really going to think about it in sort of like in terms of like product categorization, like core and drafts. This is just our platform. It's Visalaw, and the reason for that is there is going to be this continued kind of fusion between our data set and drafts, right? Like it just makes sense. Like we have this large immigration data set. Why do we not leverage it in some of the drafting exercise? So you're going to start to see additional features, again, things that were not available in the demo today, that we're still in early testing of around what we were calling case analysis, case strategy. Again, being able to like tap into that massive data set and say, okay, these are the documents that are required, or this is how the law is today, or this is how the law changed. There's just going to be a continued, I call it infusion of that data and at different points in time. It's going to become really important around more of the like humanitarian briefs and RFEs and things that are not so like, I hesitate to say templated, but, more standardized. Like we know exactly what sections need, the policy manual outlines exactly how these extraordinary ability petitions need to be, or 601, or like there's smaller variants or kind of, I guess, like, in terms of a brief, you're thinking about how varied the kind of drafting exercise can be. So, I think the content that we're going to fuel, allow us to kind of fuel the system will only improve and give our product, I think, a really interesting advantage in that way. The other one that I wanted to mention is the most time-consuming part of using Visalaw right now is getting all of your documents in the system, right? It's that like manual upload, even though the AI takes it, once you upload everything, like the AI will take it from there, with, of course, some modification, is this like ability to quickly sync with your source of truth, right? So what we're on a mission to do is integrate with every leading case management system. And we are moving in that direction now. I would say, if we're talking a few months from now, there may even be more announcements to be made. Again, I'm not going to just sort of like spill all the beans on this one, this first demo call, but that's our ultimate objective, is bring your own case management, right? And in fact, we've actually built the integration in such a way that you can use Visalaw.ai without having to go to Visalaw.ai. Like you can actually use it within your own case management system. And that will really be up to the vendors. Like it'll be up to, list out the 5 case management systems that come to your mind when you think about immigration. It will really be up to them in terms of how they want it to be displayed in their system, or whether they want it to be displayed. But yeah, you could essentially do all the things I just showed you really quickly within your case management system, because most case management systems do what? Like they have all of your documents already there. They had the client portal. They have, some of them even help you kind of like put the order that you want for your docs. So your exhibit list, so that all that could really be super streamlined, even more than it is today. And we will continue your intelligent platform that's, working in the background to generate the docs, generate the letters, even provide certain skills, maybe infusing them into your case management. So there's going to be a direction here where, you're going to see and leverage a lot of the capabilities that we're talking about in the systems that you're currently working. That is a key part of our mission as well. So just wanted to flag that. It's not something I can necessarily demo. We've already demoed the e-immigration, workflow and how it works within that product. So I'll stop talking because I can.
Yeah, and so that e-immigration webinar, if anybody uses e-immigration, we've got a great offer with them. You can go see that full webinar on our YouTube page as well. Yeah, Drafts 2.0, I think what we've shown is it's kind of a game changer. You've gone from a process that takes 20 hours to a process that we did just now. It's kind of a remarkable change. And I think the bottom line for immigration lawyers is it lets you focus on what really matters, right? It lets you focus on your clients. It lets you, take on more clients and build that access that I think we're all striving for, especially in a time like this, which is so complicated for immigration lawyers. And it gives you, your time back that you can go home maybe and spend an afternoon with family, right? I think, that's also an important aspect to this, to, reduce burnout, because that's, the fact that we're coming from that immigration lawyer background. We're not just software developers. Like, we're doing stuff, Greg, that like, this is for, you and our team, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Absolutely. And the last thing I'll call out on the drafts thing is like, sure, ultimately we want this to make your life better. It's like, if it doesn't make your life easier or better, your work easier or better, it's like, we have failed. And if it doesn't, please let us know and we will figure out what we can do to make that or correct that.
Absolutely.
But I just want to call out one other thing, and maybe we have a ton of questions and I'm just messing up our flow here. With the drafting, the one area of this that's really different than, say, the research chat is, research is kind of plug and play. You go ask your question, you're talking to a client, you have an issue, like you go see what the law says or see what, what's the most recent policy or fee or what have you. With drafts, it's definitely much more implementation heavy in the sense that like you at your firm have a process, you have a system by which you've done this either for a long period of time. I mean, again, I have no idea, it would just be based on the firm and the kind of work you guys do. But the implementation obviously is really important. You have some strategic business decisions to make around how you incorporate this tech into your company. And I would just flag that with our new drafts product, it's not like, here's the product, go figure it out, right? That's what I want to highlight. We have people on this call, Joseph, Scarlett, they're leading the charge. Their background is in immigration. They're both, both worked as immigration professionals before joining Visalaw. So one of our strategic goals is to have an implementation team behind the product so that when you decide, oh, I want to give this to our outsourced writers because now they can do 5 times as much drafting work, or, oh, I want to re-insource the work because, now we don't have to necessarily have all these external team members that are not part of our company who we contract. Again, I'm not trying to displace anyone. I'm just saying you have to make decisions as either as a team lead or a business owner around how you implement this technology. I think it can work a multitude of ways. And obviously we want to provide the tool to your team, to your paralegals, again, and give them like a tool that will just, again, allow them, again, like what we call re-insource or empower them to just spend more time communicating with clients or, engaging with new potential customers or, just like all the things that maybe we don't get the chance to do. Jason Susser, one of our co-founders, made a great point. He's like, paralegals 15 years ago, all they did was fill form, 70% of his job as a paralegal was filling in forms every day. It's like, now that's been automated. The intake form filling capabilities. And now we're kind of stepping into, the next kind of advancement in the technology, which will be, leveraging tech to help draft at least the first draft for some of this. So I just kind of want to explain that's really our approach. Is it's not just here's the tech, go figure it out. Like you're buying a service, right? You're not just buying a software. It is going to be a process, and we're here to support you in it.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah. And we did have one question that has been sort of answered in the LinkedIn chat, but I'm going to bring it up here for anybody who's outside of that. Marilyn asked if we make changes to the reference letters, will the AI redraft in the main document, or will it manually go in and edit? And if so, will that count as a new draft? Emily gave a good answer here. You'll need to redraft the entire document following the full flow. It would not count as a new draft. So thank you, Emily, for sharing that. And I know we wanted to talk a little bit about prompts, Greg, but before we do that, I do want to highlight for everybody that's on the call, we have a legal AI prompt pack that we've put together. If you're just dipping your toes in, if you're AI curious, if you want to sort of get to know these things before you dive in for a full product like Visalaw, we've put together something for you here. You can scan the QR code and download the AI prompt pack, which shows you how to create a really strong prompt for legal workflows, and what sort of goes into that, and some good reminders about how to do that, and just some free ones that you can copy and paste and use just to sort of learn how to use those things. So I'll leave that up if you want to scan that and get access. It's free. It's totally free, the legal AI prompt pack. So But Greg, I know you wanted to touch on a little bit about some prompting stuff.
Yeah, I'll be fast. Hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen. Do you see Prompt.law, hopefully?
We sure do.
Okay, good. So this is a little passion project of mine from, and it is Visalaw.ai actually provides this website for free. And it's a prompt database that has lots and lots of examples. But one little project I'm working on, a lot of you may know that I am a co-author with my law partner, Ari Sauer, of the AILA Practice and Procedures Manual, also known as the Cookbook. And I had made an announcement yesterday on a program we were doing about the 2025 edition of the Cookbook that I was developing AI prompts that use the Cookbook as a resource in the prompt. So what we're going to be doing in Visalaw is the Cookbook itself is available to users of Visalaw, and you'll be able to. We're going to be putting Cookbook chapters, each individual chapters in your firm library, and in your. Well, I'm not sure if we're doing the firm library or your personal library, but you'll have access to it so that for various prompts that I'm creating, or if you want to create your own prompts around Cookbook chapters, you can do that. So I will just show you, some examples of some prompts that I've started loading up in Prompt.law. We're also going to be moving all these prompts into the prompt library that you have available to you. But you can see the prompts themselves are fairly in depth, and they incorporate. They're sort of ask clarifying questions. They go in and you can tell you what kind of documents it should be expected to upload. Gives a basic model for how the answer is going to look. But we have lots of these that we'll be adding. I've just started with I'm going through chapter by chapter, and so over the next hopefully a couple of weeks, I think it's going to take. We'll have most of the book covered, but I'll be uploading them one chapter at a time. And right now, if you want to find those prompts easily, you could just type AILA or you could type Cookbook. And you can see these are the first 7 that I've loaded in there, but things that, draw on resources in that book. And it's a way to kind of use AI to extend the usefulness of that product. So that's what I wanted to show. And I can stop sharing now on that. So
awesome.
There we go.
Thank you. Well, we did have one more question here, and I think this is always an important one to close out with. Josh, I'll give this to you. It's how's the price? We can talk about, Pro Plan obviously is, I think, the direction that we encourage everybody to go if it makes sense for their firm. But there are options for you if you're just looking for research as well.
Yeah, I mean, we just try to simplify our pricing right now. We used to, when we first released drafts, we had a table for every process type, and there was like a cost associated to every case type. It was just super complicated, and nobody could ever figure out like what was the price for whatever thing. So we have both, I think, overall lowered our pricing and made it a bundle. So we have I guess you could call it core, like does not include drafts. And that has our data set, and it's just a kind of like the chat-based research tooling. That's at approximately like $220 a month. But again, with tiers as you kind of grow in size, your team size. And then for our Pro Plan, that includes our entire product, including all this new draft capability. And, it's $480 per user per month. But if you kind of do the math, it's basically, we're essentially saying, okay, it's $280 for drafts per user per month. And if you utilize and that's for 10 petitions a month, that's like for 10 drafts a month. So essentially, if you do the math based on my math, which is not great, but if I use my calculator, it's like $28 per draft per petition. So I mean, if you start to like think about cost savings as it relates to, you know, outsourcing this work or basically like manually doing this to work with no AI assisted help, like I think it's pretty dramatic when you kind of start breaking down the pricing. But again, every pro plan, like if you have multiple users, say you have admin users, we also have like lower tiers for for drafts access only. So you don't have to pay for, you know, a premium license for an admin person who's only going to be assisting in like, you know, the review work and draft. So we try to create different angles, different kind of packages so that it makes sense. But I just want to clarify, for every pro plan, that 10 uses can be distributed among your entire firm, right? So it's not like, oh, these 10, you know, so say you have 2 pro plans and the rest of them are core plans, right? Because maybe you only need 20 petitions a month. So that's kind of how we break this up, right? So you like basically insert a pro plan for every 10 cases of volume that you would need. And it doesn't matter what kind of type or anything, like it can be an EB1, a 601, an asylum. Like we're not doing this whole like scale of complexity price thing anymore. It's just too complicated to keep track of for me, and I'm sure for you guys. So yeah, we just basically have a subscription model. You get up to 10 drafts a month with a pro plan. Anybody who's interested can get a free month, and you can try out the product and, you know, let us know, you know, if you know, hopefully it meets your expectations or far surpasses your expectations for how the AI would work. We just hope it's just ultimately a time savings tool that like your back office is just, you know, revolutionized.
Absolutely. Well, that's really exciting, and I think we're right at about time. So, you know, I want to thank you, Josh, Greg, everybody behind the scenes, Joseph, Scarlett, Emily, Tyler, and the rest of our team for working with us today and getting questions answered. And thank you, everybody, for showing up. Again, I'm going to prompt you to this little QR code that's right next to my head right here. Download the Legal AI Prompt Pack. It's a really good starter guide to learning how to be a prompt master like Greg. If you want to learn from the best, this is the place to start. Or you can copy and paste the link that's shared in LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you want to share this with anyone, you can find this recording on YouTube, and we'll also send it out. It'll be on LinkedIn. It'll be on Greg's Twitter page as well, or X, excuse me. And so, yeah, that's pretty much everything we've got. And thanks, Josh. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, everybody, for jumping on. Have a good Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.